right.
All right, guys. So, didn't get it done. No,
Starting off
no,
on
no Super
fire.
Bowl. No number 6. Um, there's a whole game, right? But I can't blame Steve Wilkes at all. That defense came out on fire. Um, Offense, that fumble in the early on the first drive that hurt. Um, Offense just couldn't move the ball when they needed to move the ball, and our defense tired out. It was don't know what else to say. Right? We didn't get it done. What you got, Ty?
Yeah, pretty much the quest for six continues. We were close. We were this close. This close. But didn't
Oh
get it done.
man,
Yeah, it's like you said. I've seen the finger pointing online. The whole Steve Wilkes thing has come up again. Fire him. Hire Bill Belichick. It's like, hey, if I told you the 49ers defense would give up basically just 4 field goals through 4 quarters of football, you would say, oh, we win a game instantly. That it's automatic win, right? No touchdowns, but then we get a key turnover on special teams that just basically spots them a touchdown. You know, can't blame him for
yeah,
that. That defense was on fire, even though they kind of slowed up and bent a lot in the second half, but they didn't break. They came up, they made plays. Yeah, yeah. For me, it was just the miscues on offense that cost us a victory there. We were just on. I would say there were like 3 plays where we were just that close to scoring a touchdown instead of punting or kicking a field goal. That would have totally flipped the game, and that's what it comes down to.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Carcast, that's true, buddy. That's true. I can't exactly post that on YouTube though. But but when it comes down to it, didn't get it done. I can't blame the defense. The offense didn't score enough points. You know, uh, the Ray McLeod thing. That it wasn't a muffed punt. It did bounce off Luter Jr.'s the back of his foot. But for some reason, Ray was trying to pick it up. Fall on it, dude.
Yeah,
Just it was perfect. He was in a perfect position to just fall
all
on
he
it.
had to do is just jump on it. I mean, and he sees the entire rush coming. He knows where they are. Just fall on it. That was a huge
Yes.
mistake.
Yes, that was a touchdown that we gifted him. When we needed touchdowns, we couldn't get touchdowns.
Hmm.
It was, I mean, Kansas City's they have one of the better passing defenses in the league, and we saw that. We saw, Debo couldn't seem to get open. It was just one of those grinded out games, and we grounded into overtime.
Yeah.
Brian, buddy, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, where should we start at? The beginning of the game seemed really, really, really positive, but we had a fumble, and
Hmm.
you can't blame that on the defense. The defense they took the ball away, so they made it equal for us. So both teams, was 0-0. Like when you both have a turnover, it's against 0, right? It's fair. But then we didn't really stop going to the run when CMC fumbled. We still used him. We stalled. I believe our first points were 3 points, if I'm correct. And
Yeah.
Jake Moody made the longest field goal in history at that point, and it
Yeah.
was like a 55-yarder in Super Bowl history. So, I mean, shout out to Jake Moody and all the 49er fans for sticking with this team and I mean, I know you got your doubts, and everybody's got, hey, close your eyes. You don't want to see him. You miss it. Everybody wants to see him make it, but the guy wasn't. Everybody had their doubts. So then later, like they got 3 points, right? And we go into halftime. We go up into the third quarter, and at that point, they had went like 3 and out. Then we go 3 and out. We didn't get a first down or anything in the third quarter. I don't think we got anything going. But at that point, we still had the more total yards, time of possession. Everything was in favor of the 49ers. It was that fumble in the beginning of the game by CMC that kind of changed our points. And then with the fumble, the muff punt, Luter, I don't even know if he knew it hit his foot at that moment. Maybe he did, but still the way he ran just seemed weird. For Ray, like he was pointing, like maybe he was trying to throw out, like, hey, like trying to give him a signal, like it hit somebody, maybe trying to, alert. I don't know, but like maybe at that point, it's not so much to let everybody else know what happened. Just take care of the business and get the ball. But he did really good. I was really happy with Ray. Ray came to play. Juwan came to play. Juice came to play. Who is it? Number 84. Conley.
Chris Conley.
Yeah, Conley. He came to play. I really wish they would have put him in the game because at a certain point it seemed like Debo was hurt. And we had Decoy out there, not Debo.
Yeah.
So Conley just seemed like he had a lot of energy. It's like, I don't know, kind of go with the hot hand, right? So I just kind of felt like they should have tried to get him in there. And then, we had the blocked extra point, which wasn't cool. But even if we didn't have the blocked extra point, a lot of people are like, oh, Moody missed the field goal. No, and it didn't cost us the game. We go down the field. We got our points. They go down the field. If Moody would have had that extra point, they would have tried to score a touchdown. Then there would not have been an overtime at all, right? So
exactly.
And then I understand now that the newest thing is Kyle didn't know about the overtime rules, or there were some decisions, or I don't know everything about that. That sounds really weird. But to say, okay, we don't want the ball or we do want the ball, the Niners, in their defense, had the ball for 10 minutes, 12 minutes out of the drive. It was really crazy for overtime for them to have the ball that long. We stalled. We got a field goal. That was our doom, right? We should have got the touchdown, but we still had chance. If they would have went down and got a field goal, we get the ball back. If they go down and score a touchdown, okay. So like that's where our defense needed to tighten up. And I think there was two plays that we should have stopped them in that fifth quarter, the overtime. There was a 4th and 1. I think there's so. Guys, I guess our defense is suspect to quarterbacks running, and he did it to us 2 or 3 times in the game where it was 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, and he runs for a big game because nobody was there. Kyle did have a timeout. He seemed like he did do something that looks like Steve Wilkes was getting ready to have a blitz or something at one point, and Kyle did call a timeout. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be changes coming, but at this point, I'm pretty happy with everybody's performance. I really am. I just don't understand if CMC was hurt coming out of halftime, if that's why they did not use him in the third quarter, or what the deal was. But when we lost number 57, that's what Al-Shire.
Greenlaw. We lost Greenlaw.
When we lost him, and we lost him because he was jumping up and down on the sidelines. It looked like his celebration might have caused him to have it.
No, it wasn't a celebration. They were anxious to run onto the field, and they didn't want to run out too early. But he was already leaning to go out, and we kind of replanted. His Achilles just popped.
Yeah.
It just snapped. And if you know anything about Achilles, they can go at any moment if you flex that thing the wrong way.
Yeah.
And if you remember, toward the end of the season and into the playoffs, he was dealing with an Achilles issue. That thing was tender to begin with. So to flex it the way he did, it just went. And that's just anatomy. You can't help that.
Yeah, when it's your time, it's your time. You know, it's like the tensile
Hmm.
strength. You know, like when you can
Yeah,
only stretch that so far before it snaps. So
yeah. Like people have torn their Achilles just walking off of a sidewalk, just walking down steps, not even like flexing to run out somewhere, just doing regular everyday activities. That's one of those weird tendons in your body that can just go.
And I got to tell you guys too, I don't really blame Brock Purdy at the end of the game
Nope.
when he missed Jennings on the side. You know, he could have hit Jennings. That would have been spectacular. But we still have to remember that the Chiefs were going to get the ball back. They were going to get the ball, so we still would have had to stop them. I mean, that could have been the game. That could have been the MVP moment. But then the defense still had to go out there and stop them. They came close. They came very, very close. I'm looking forward to the Niners being back in the Super Bowl next year. I'm saying it right now. And I've heard other people say it as well. The betting odds right now are in favor of the 49ers going back to the Super Bowl. The Niners can do it. It's not been the first team to go back after losing a Super Bowl. The Dolphins
Hmm.
have done it. I believe the Dolphins have done it and the Patriots have done it. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna look to see if the Cowboys have done it or if there's been any other teams that's done it. But we got this. We got this, guys. The team's really, really close together, and I see them sticking this out. And they can't do it forever, but this team's got a couple more years in them, I believe. And I think if we get another linebacker, maybe some guys on the O line, a couple of new guys, we'll see. But I'm gonna trust the process. Call me a homer, call me
Well,
a guy, whatever. But I'm trusting the
no,
process.
I'm right there with you.
well, I got to shout out the chat. You know, we got Carcast. What's going
What
on,
up?
buddy? And yes, Fred Warner was, you know, crying at halftime seeing Greenlaw. We got old Jason Captain Niner Massey, the guy with the fantastic hat. And yes, they actually had 5 fumbles on the day, and we only recovered 2 of them.
Yeah, that was huge. Yeah.
You know, we got a great chat going on. We got Don
All
Dotson.
right. What up, Don?
What's going on? Good evening. You know, everyone's. I was like, I honestly had problems sleeping last night after that, folks. I was like, I was just so disappointed. You know, John Jay. And yet, I won't ever abandon ship either. Red and gold until I'm dead and cold. You
You see
know.
what we're all wearing today.
Yep.
But been wearing. I know BC's been wearing his stuff all day. I've been
He's got
wearing
his
this
Moody
all
jersey.
day.
And
Exactly.
honestly, all the people blaming Moody for the extra point. He wasn't blocking the rusher, folks. Come on, no
If
football.
if you look at that the left side
Hi,
of
Tony.
our line kind of collapsed in. They did not block that well. And I mean, it's an extra point. Our defense still held this team. Like, remember, all during the season, we were the team that scored 30 points automatically. We just that's what we do.
Whoa.
Here we go. Here we go.
That always fires. That fires up every offseason. That talk. He's a Rams fan, so we don't have to
Yeah.
listen to him. Hi, Daniel Barry.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. But yeah, that's just something interesting, you know. And the sad part about this is our owner will call this a successful season. Yeah, we made it to the Super Bowl, but we didn't win it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's my view. I've been watching the Niners a long time. Eddie DeBartolo Jr. He almost fired Bill Walsh after a NFC Championship game loss.
Yeah.
You know, this actually happened. Carmen Policy talked him out of it.
Yep.
Yes, you better call that guy back. You call him back in the morning.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, it was like, you know, but Jed York, he'll consider this a successful season. Maybe he does need to be a little more stern and tell those guys you got to get it done. I mean, what else can you do at this point? You just extended the man. I can't remember what the extension was, but didn't that happen like after week 3?
It it was
after
like
the
5 or
Giants
6
game
years,
that we
another
all
5 or
attended.
6 years. Yeah, another 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
But and the way I look at it is our pass protection. They couldn't stop my grandma. God rest her soul. It was like it was insane. Even Trent Williams was having a bad game, and there's talk that he was actually playing with an injury. I don't know how true that is. I haven't seen anything about it. But at this point, O-line's the weakness. It's time to invest.
Well, if we all see Kansas City as the team to beat, right? They're the team to beat, and they're the team we haven't beat. If you go back and look at our games against them since 2018, the difference in those games has been late in the games, especially in the fourth quarter, we have not controlled the line of scrimmage. They have gotten the best of us, and that has affected things greatly. So that's the number one thing we got to do, right? If we're saying we need to compete with, that's the team, the glaring area of need is O-line. Chris Jones can't be the same guy wrecking havoc on us over and over in these games. At some point, you got to address it, right? So the left side of the line, we know it's fine, but the right side of the line has got to come to a head. No more drafting defensive linemen in the first round. Go out and get you a big old offensive tackle, offensive guard, somebody that can be in there and get nasty.
You could get a good center in the third round, and like we got Aaron Banks. He's decent. He's getting better.
Yeah.
But so Aaron Banks and Trent Williams, I'm not too concerned with those two. But center, right guard, and right tackle. I mean, McKivitz ain't that bad. You put a good right guard by him, it's going to make him better. You put a good center between Aaron Banks and that right guard, that's going to make Aaron Banks. That's just going to help the whole O-line.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't keep drafting players that are going to sit for a year. If we have a need for that position this year, we can't say, oh, well, we're going to be good next year. No, we need it this year. We need it now. I mean, like, we drafted Jake Moody because we needed a kicker this year, not because we wanted to put him on the bench and be like, oh, well, we're good. We won't need to kick any points this year. No, you got to draft. And kicker is special, right? You kind of can just plug them in. But for offensive tackles, for this team, offensive line, it seems like we all know our complications. Our system's so complicated. Guys, give them the Madden game. Right? Give them a PlayStation or whatever you want to get. Put our offense and our system in there. Let them play the game when they're not around. Like, whatever they have to do, however they need to learn the system. But we got guys that are going to different colleges, and you're telling me none of them are smart enough to be able to figure out this playbook. They have to sit a whole year. Like, sometimes people learn, and not sometimes people learn 7 different ways. Some is hands-on. So if these guys got to play to learn, I mean, maybe we need to take some growing pains and go along with it. I mean, not every play is going to be horrible. And, again, if we need the player to play this year because that's the need, why are we drafting for a year from now? Like, I don't know. It's like every year we seem to draft a running back in the third round. We can't do that this year, guys. We can't do that.
Oh, we didn't do it this year. So
no, because we got a kicker.
we got a kicker and we got Jair Brown.
What's that, kid? What's good, buddy?
What's up? 2 guys who
we keep going in life. That's right. The world keeps spinning.
Yeah, Jair Brown, he paid dividends this year. Jake Moody paid dividends. Those guys are entrenched in their positions for years to come. We got to worry about them.
Well, it's just kind of like, he drafted a guy like Luter Jr., and we saw his speed on special teams, but we never really saw him in coverage or doing anything.
Yeah.
They had Logan Ryan out there instead of Ambry Thomas. Not sure. I know you guys noticed that.
I noticed that immediately. I was like, whoa, what's up with that?
I was kind of iffy about that because he's an older veteran, and Ambry Thomas, when it comes to speed, he's definitely got Logan Ryan beat.
Yeah.
But, I can't.
And Ryan isn't a DB. He's more safety, right?
Yep.
Like he's not a real
Yeah,
corner.
he did play
So,
corner in the early part of his career, and then he
career,
switched to safety when he got older.
From years on, he's
Yep.
been a safety. Now to try to get an older player to revert back to a position of like speed, it doesn't really work that way, right? You don't get
No.
faster as you get older. It's the opposite. And granted, he was out there giving it his all, but you don't make a switch like that late in the season. Like it's been Ambry Thomas on the outside and Lenore inside the entire season. Now here we are in the biggest game of them all, and this is the decision you decide to make. That had me scratching my head. It really did.
Did you hear the comments that they were talking about during the game about him being on a cruise and saying, "Oh, I want you to come," and "Oh, just finish out being on the cruise"? That made me feel really weird because it's not, and like what you're saying right now is, and not what you're saying, but what it sounds like, not specifically what you're saying, but this is if we didn't need him because of the other guys, we're doing fine. Then why implement them now? Like the guys are doing fine. If you're going to leave them out there for a month, like the whole time December, it's there. That's how long ago we were planning on bringing them in. Why put them in the biggest game of these guys' careers when they've been holding the torch? They've been going to work every day. This guy's been on the boat,
Well, remember he played some for us to finish out the season, and he played in the 2 playoff games. We picked him up because we needed safety help, right? We needed safety depth. We lost Huff. Jair Brown got injured at one point. So, like, we need a body at safety. And he was the veteran guy out there, familiar with our type of system from when he played in, like, Jacksonville or something. So we brought him in. And they just kind of, you know how this team is. They kind of like veterans. I don't know why. They just love, oh, he's a veteran. He has experience, blah, blah, blah. So they throw him out there.
Yeah.
But to experiment like that and not even have him at safety, or we're going to move you down into slot corner. Ooh, that was a big one. It had me scratching my head. And granted, he played okay. He gave it his all out there, but it was a big move that really had me scratching my head.
And at the same time, Lenore's been killing it in the slot. And Ambry Thomas, it seems like whenever he has a bad game, the next game he bounces back.
Yeah.
So here they are not playing him in his bounce back game. He always seems to come up with an interception at the best time too. So I'm sitting there like why aren't they playing Ambry Thomas? It's But we're not the coaches. We don't know. We're not, in practice. We don't know, right?
Right. Who knows? But hey, but the defense played well overall. Man. So it did work in some way. Because once again, they only gave up 4 field goals, really. That's a win on any Sunday.
Yep.
Honestly, sorry, I wanted to say there is a moment where they had scored that touchdown. I think it was right after the muff punt, and they showed the team on the sideline, and you could see they were frustrated, but they didn't quit. And I was afraid,
not at all.
I was afraid at that moment, like this is where they're gonna oh well, here we go. But the Niners didn't quit. And they came back. And that's why I'm truly confident that this team's going to stick together. They did it's been really neat. They got a breakdown of the players that we need to try to re-sign, or we might potentially, they might walk. And there's not a whole lot of players that are leaving. There's a lot of players that are going to still be here. This core is going to be solid. And some of those players might be able to be retained. And some of the players that we change, and get different, might be those players that are those deciding factors that will push us over the top. So the whole narrative this year is going to be Chiefs three-peat. But the Niners can play spoiler, and that's what I'm going to keep saying.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned it. The core is here, and people were like, "Oh, the window is closing." No, because the core is still young. They're all under contract. They're still here, right?
Yep.
as long as they're in place and we have this young quarterback who's doing nothing but emerging, right? He's ascending. Think about it. Next year, he's going to be even better. The sky's the limit. And when you look at that list of free agents, like that's coming up, people are like, oh, you got some key guys you need to resign. But the guys on there are like Charlie Warner, right? Is he a key? Logan Ryan, who we just talked about, is he really a key? No. And there's guys like that on the fringe. It's not the Kittles and the Bosas and things like that. So we're fine to come back and totally make another run at this thing.
Well, there's two players I definitely like to bring back. And, Cleveland Farrell was injured.
Thank you.
Cleveland Farrell was injured.
Thank you. I've been chomping at the
Juwan Jennings is the other guy.
Yes, those are the two guys that I've said are key re-signings this offseason. It's Cleveland Farrell on the line because losing him, I think, was huge. And then, of course, third in Juwan, he's become second in Juwan, first in Juwan, you name it. He's just Juwan at this point. He has been rock solid for us. And the more opportunities he gets, the more he shines.
How do you feel about Chase Young, who is going to be asking somewhere around $15 million? And how do you feel about Kinlaw? Do we let both of them walk or do we try to retain them? Because at this point, I could see them walking, and I'd be okay with that.
Chase Young is going to try to demand top dollar, and I can see us letting him walk for the simple fact that Cleveland Farrell, I think, plays just as well. And he plays hard. He plays hard for 60 minutes. Say what you want. Chase Young disappeared in that second half yesterday. He came out on fire, but in the second half, where was he? Right? They put Randy Gregory out there more than him at times. That tells you something. So yeah, that. And
did you guys see?
Yeah, he could walk too.
Did you guys see number 51 though?
But yeah,
Robert Beal Jr.
was out there. He
getting in the backfield, jumping. I was like, why haven't we been playing this guy? What? I didn't even know who it was at first. I had to look it up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I looked at the D line and I was like, wait, 51. Oh, that's Bill Jr. Wait a minute, he's actually playing. It totally shocked me.
So Damian Lee brings up Hassan Reddick, and I believe he was on our practice squad last year when before he signed with. Well, this is what I understood is he was on our practice squad the year before he tore up Brock Purdy's shoulder or his elbow. And then he signed with the Eagles because we didn't retain him that year. So then he went on and he made the Eagles team and they signed him to a 2-year contract. So if that's true, is he available this season and would you bring him to the 49ers?
He is available via trade and he's looking for a big payday. So I don't think he fits, because we have a lot of guys that have big paydays.
Yeah.
So I don't quite think he fits. I think like next year, our edges that we currently have under contract are, Nick Bosa, Robert Beal Jr. We got a guy named Drake Jackson who, had a fantastic first game, but then where'd you go? And, what wasn't there another edge that's under contract? I don't think there is actually.
Is Gregory? Right? Gregory's leaving too.
Except for Robert Beal, who's on his rookie deal still.
I mean, it's just those three.
It. Yeah.
And Randy Gregory, I think it's a year-by-year contract. I think the Niners can pick it up, but we'll end up owing him some money. They'll probably. I mean, I would love to bring him back. I'm not going to lie. He's a player. He's a good player. I would love to bring him back and have him in the rotation. But it's like this next year. Let's see some O-line. Let's see some O-line with those early picks. And Kyle, don't be afraid to play him. Don't sit him. Oh, you're gonna sit. No, Burford. You rotated Burford in and out with a veteran his rookie year. And while I don't hate on Burford, but when it comes down to it, he's a very solid backup guard and right tackle. He's a solid backup for the right side. And we need a guy. We need a big fellow over there like Feliciano, maybe a little more athletic. At the right guard position, and that will, like I said, help McKivitz. We got McKivitz under contract for next year, which if they end up drafting someone and he ends up starting, then we have a backup swing tackle. It's either way. I would, Brindell, he did admirable. He's an average player. I'm not saying he's bad, but we definitely need an upgrade at center. We need a center that can handle someone one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then that opens it up for the other four linemen to block the incoming blitz on Purdy. Like yesterday, we saw guys running through free.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, if we're gonna draft somebody, like get somebody early. Get one of these dudes who their bodies are ready to play in the NFL, right? And they come from a system that's kind of pro ready, so that they're ready. We don't have to redshirt them for a year. That's what we need. We can't, like Bryant, you hit the nail on the head earlier. We can't redshirt all these guys when it's a glaring position of need. We gotta get a guy who's ready and put him in there, and just say, hey, this is what it is, son. Go learn. This offseason, you're gonna go train with Trent Williams. And we're projecting you to be our week 1 starter. You got to get it done.
Yeah, it's just silly. It's either do it in free agency, or when the players first come out, and you go get the best player available, or you wait until the draft, or if you can't get him at the draft, then you wait for whoever didn't get signed after free agency. And that's not how we want it. We want these guys to be here as soon as possible. If they can be here tomorrow, I mean, like that's where we want them to be at, so they can learn the playbook and get everything But that's why, again, it's weird when we go after these players and they don't play for a year, and then you start thinking, like, are they good players? Or did we fail on this player again, or did we miss? Not fail, but like again, like if they're not practicing or playing, how do we know if they're good or not? So there's only so many reps in the game. There's only so many reps in practice. So I just don't see how redshirting these guys is doing them any good.
It's really not.
Yeah, but
it's costing them valuable experience.
Yeah, but some of these guys need to be redshirted, right? Because they're not quite ready, whether it's mentally or physically. Like Aaron Banks, his big thing was he wasn't physically ready to play. He had to totally redo his body, right? And that's what I mean by, okay, go out and get one of these blue chipper A+ guys who you see is physically ready, right? They're 6'6", 300 with good feet who can just maul. Okay, he's NFL ready. Go get some of those guys, not a prospect that you got to build up for a year, because we need them now.
Even in NFL free agency, go after. I mean, I don't know what we have available cap wise, but go after someone. Sign a good, not necessarily young, but not a player that's too old. I mean, there has to be some good guards and centers in free agency.
Yeah.
And at this point, we need to protect Purdy. If Kyle's going to come out and pass the ball, for 2 drives right after halftime, which we went 3 and out on both these drives, he needs to be able to give Purdy the time and give our position players the time to get open against that really good defense that had, I believe, both their corners were did Snead make the Pro Bowl?
I believe so. One was
and
all-pro,
the other one,
was
McDuffie, he was an all-pro.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is who you're going against. You're going to need to give our wide receivers a second to get open here.
Mm-hmm. But that's a prime example was our final play of the game. We had 2 guys break wide open. That was a touchdown, right? But because of the breakdown in the O line, Brock didn't have that extra second to throw.
Yep.
And look at the deep pass to Ayuk. I mean to Deebo Samuel, where he overthrew him. That was a touchdown. But because of the offensive line breakdown, couldn't hit him. And also there was a deep pass to Ayuk. Same thing. Exact same thing.
We had a couple of passes at the beginning of the game that were overthrown in the red zone, and it was because of the pressure. He didn't have the time to sit there for a second. Imagine if he had, like Dallas's line, where he could sit there and pass. He could be a passing quarterback. I really think he could really just chew up teams. I really think the timing and precision he has with these guys, and knows they're going to be there, and knows when the windows are there. But what I want to see them get back to, and I know it's kind of hard when you have somebody like CMC, but again, I don't understand why they didn't give him the ball in the third quarter. But when they had Mitchell in there a little bit, and it was a little bit back and forth, that seemed to work a little bit. And we've been to the Super Bowl before when they've had multiple players at running back, contributing. Maybe take a little bit of load off Debo, take a little bit off CMC, take a little bit and give Mitchell the ball. Mitchell, he did well. Did really well. And that's what I'm really impressed about is like the players that we kind of don't see every day. Conley, Jennings, Juice. We just said his name just now. We just said his name. Mitchell. They stepped up huge. They really did. And we almost got it done because of our depth. I'd like to see us get another linebacker. Reuben Foster we kind of missed on. But we could get somebody else, a little younger. Maybe could take that torch.
Well, hold on now. Remember, we drafted 2 this year.
Right? D. Winters and Jalen Graham.
Indeed. Okay. And if you remember, when they did play, like, during preseason, they were out there thumping. They looked kind of like Warner and Greenlaw. But it's as we just discussed. We got this thing with rookies where we got a red shirt. They can't play. They can't get in the depth chart. Like, okay, these guys are flashing, showing all this potential, and get them some reps. There were games that we had blowouts that they could easily just went in there, got reps, got geared up. Like those guys are just sitting there. Like, okay, so if they had their redshirt freshman year, next year, the chain should come off. They should be playing.
So, Anshul 49er Media just made me look. We actually have $36,395,266 carrying over.
Yeah, we got money.
Yeah. So we should be able to do something in free agency to improve that O-line.
Yep.
I would love to see a center and a right guard.
Yeah.
They could sign a center and then, draft a right guard with our first round pick. Either way, as long as they get someone good to help protect Purdy, that's the big deal here,
I agree. 100%. I agree. That's the priority this offseason. It ain't kicker. It ain't defensive back. It ain't wide receiver. It ain't running back. I don't hear none of that. Right? It's offensive line. Period.
Big time. Kyle's the last couple games, like during the Green Bay game, he actually threw it 39 times.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to be, passing the ball more than we're running the ball, let's get some offensive linemen that can pass protect. Because typically when they're drafting an offensive lineman, it's, this guy can run block. Okay. Now we're trying to pass the ball. So obviously adjustments need to be made.
Yeah. Well, you got to think about it. Teams are going to come out and they're going to say, we got to stop the run, right? We got to stop their run. And that's like Kansas City. They started bringing guys down in the box. Green Bay did it too. They just brought guys down into the box. We're going to bring 8, 9 down into the box. We're going to make you throw. And at the same time, we're going to try to heat up your quarterback. If that's the case, your pass protection has to be solid.
There
Yes.
was there was one thing I seen in the game, and I will go back and rewatch, and wasn't very happy with it. And I'm maybe nitpicking a little bit, but it seemed. And if you guys go back and you're watching the game, watch Travis Kelsey before the ball is snapped. At any general play, it always seemed like he was moving right before the play was snapped. And I always thought you had to be, stopped there for like a second. You couldn't, just like walk up to the line and then they
Mm-hmm.
snap. But to me, again, I'm nitpicking maybe a little bit, but it seemed like he got away with a lot of motion that he wasn't in motion for. I thought the quarterback's supposed to send you in motion so you can move around. And I know Ayuk got that called when he like kind of got ready to
start.
Yeah, and they called it a false start. He didn't jump off sides or anything. He moved. He he flinched a little bit, and it wasn't a flinch. He went to launch. Like you seen him lower his legs, getting ready to take off.
Yeah, he was going early. Yeah,
and we got called for it. So I just thought, it's like, again, not like, oh, well, mommy and daddy, look what they did. No, but I did notice it did definitely seem like he was in movement a lot. And I played football. I thought you're supposed to be stopped before the ball snapped. So
what's going on, Rick?
What's going on, Rick Diaz? Nice to see you, buddy. And that's the truth, We're actually talking about what needs to happen next. Get some O-line help. Keep Purdy clean so he can actually make some plays. But, next season, like we were saying earlier, the core of the team is coming back. They have a couple big decisions to make regarding, a couple players, which Ty and I are on the same page here. Let's bring back Cleveland Farrell and Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
When it comes to Chase Young, I'd say let him walk or let him try free agency. And, maybe he doesn't get a deal he likes and he ends up coming back. You never know.
Yeah.
Kinlaw could end up in that boat where he tests free agency and no one's willing to, throw a lot of money at him and he ends up, coming back to us on a team friendly deal. This could happen. I think Kevin Givens, isn't Kevin Givens a free agent too? He's an unrestricted now.
Yeah, he is.
I could honestly see him going down to like Houston or Miami though, because they need D-line help.
Yep.
He's a good rotational piece.
He is.
But our interior guys, the only guys I think we got under contract are Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and Kalia Davis. Yeah. That's it. So we only have 6 defensive linemen under contract, including Robert Bale Jr., Drake Jackson, and Nick Bosa. But you never know what's going to happen, right? It's now the off season. Man, I did not look forward to getting to this.
Well, not in this way. We knew it was coming. It's just not in this way.
Yeah, I hope we were just going to be talking about how we won the Super Bowl and how I'm going to be scrambling to get out there to get to a parade and, all this stuff. And I would have. I was mulling over my options, and then we ended up losing the game. And I'm like, oh, man.
Don't have to go anywhere now.
Yeah, like the spare tire on my Jeep is actually popped right now. Shout out to my daughter if you're watching. But and I was gonna go find a tire and throw a spare tire on it, and I'd literally drive out if I have to, because I was looking at I'm sitting there going, now I probably need to get with one of those services where like travel. You book your flights and they get better deals than what the airline gives you if you call them directly. Yeah. I know there are services for that, so I have to look into that. But I was halfway tempted to say, you know what, I'm just going to drive it and, stop somewhere at a hotel, stay night, sleep and leave and then show up early morning Thursday and then head to the Bay, but it didn't happen, and I'm disappointed. I
Yeah.
wanted to be scrambling, folks. I absolutely wanted to be scrambling heading to California.
Yeah, I think we all want to be in the position to make that tough decision. Like, do I burn some money on this credit card or not?
Well,
Yep.
it's really fun. It's really fun. You go back. You can put conspiracy hats on. You put tinfoil hats, whatever you want to say. It's rigged. It can be. There's definitely stories that can be written and spun in a different direction. That's why all arguments are fun, because you can get on an argument, and if you're really good at it, you can argue both sides, or you can paint a picture. Love storytellers too, right? And it's fun to say, "Oh, this guy said this and that, and that's the reason that's happened," right? Well, not everybody wants to see, a fairy tale ending. The three peats, what's on the table right now. Again, the Niners can play spoilers. We've been the team before that, we've had the calls maybe, or we've been that team that everybody wanted to hate. Well, now we're the team that we want to be hated again. We don't want people to root for us. We want them to root against us, and not in a bad way like that. But if again, you gotta get there. You gotta get there to have a chance. And I do. I see us having a good chance to get back there. And again, depends on what happens with the NFL and the Chiefs. Maybe the Chiefs make somebody mad and they don't get those calls anymore. You never know. But as long as we just keep our core together, I think we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Well, we know for a fact we're going to be competitive. We just don't know, with a few small moves, role players, so some of the stuff, some of the players that are actually going to make an impact, like, Ray McLeod and, his forgetting that he could just fall on it, trying to pick it up and run with it. You could just fall on it, buddy. It's like
he's trying to make a play, but he's doing too much.
He's
been solid all season long.
He was doing way too much. He's pointing out signals, guys. It's live. I got to do something, and then he had to tell himself, "What do I do? What do I do?"
Well, he's pointing out, I know he was making the call. Like, you make a call, fire, rainbow, whatever it is, and that's to tell people to get out the way. Like, the ball's landing, get out the way. Unfortunately, our guy didn't get enough out the way and just hit his foot. Now, where Ray messed up is just trying to pick it up. He was doing too much. You just got to fall on it. Let the offense drive, have a long drive.
Yeah, that was a key play. It definitely was. But yeah, I can't say Steve Wilkes is a scapegoat. People that say that, rewatch the game, folks. Our defense did their job.
Yeah.
And the offense, our offensive line was getting ran through like Swiss cheese. It was insane. So, we know what the Niners need to do to get better. It's up to them to do it.
Yeah.
Quit cheaping out on the offensive line, Kyle.
Yeah. They've been using Steve Wilkes as a scapegoat all season long. So why should yesterday be any different, right? It makes no sense, but
I would actually because of how the defense played yesterday, I would be down to bring Steve Wilkes back. And a lot of people, if you want to barbecue me, I'll give you my Twitter. You can barbecue me all you want. I don't care. But then the loss hurt a lot of people. I had trouble sleeping last night, and I was like grumpy at work today. I'm running my machine, and it's a very complex thing I have going on. Every time it stops, I have to get in there, move some clamps around, and stay focused, because if I leave a clamp in a bad spot, it's going to ruin that end mill, and things go wrong. So I was just kind of grumpy, focused at work today, and the shipping lady knew it. She's like, "It's okay, Dave. Everything's gonna be all right." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
You got the shipping lady cheer you. Oh, that's awesome.
But and we actually have a resident Cowboys fan, and he's like, "Dude, that was a really good game to watch." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, it wasn't. We didn't win." But and I'm sure when it comes to NFL fans that aren't 49ers fans, it probably was a good game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of announcers say, "I'd rather have a good game than a blowout." Well, I'd rather have a blowout.
Well, of course,
on the 49ers side
in our
than
favor, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing worked out. Brian, you got any other takes?
Well, just stay faithful. There was moments in the game where you could have called it quits and turned the TV off, and you would have missed a whole lot. You really could have. You could have said Christian McCaffrey at the beginning, that was doom, and but then guess what? Moody made a big kick. Guys stuck together. All the players really played really, really well. We started losing players, but the other players stepped up. And you wouldn't know that if you turned the TV and you left. And it's just one of those things. I got real excited and got real emotional and wanted to. And then I thought, it doesn't really, at the end, it doesn't matter if I get mad or if I get sad. The team does not really know. They know how they feel, and I can see how they feel. I can see what it meant to them. And, then I started thinking more about like what it was this season. And I'm just really proud of the team. I really, truly am. They got really close. Not where we wanted to be, but this is where I felt in 2019. We were going to come back in 2020. And, if COVID wouldn't have happened the way it did, we didn't go to New York and play on that horrible field again, or, there's a lot of, craziness that happened that year, but I feel the Niners have a good chance. And, if you got any money and you want to put it down, go ahead and put it down on the Niners, put it on red, or maybe put it on red. It seems like every time
we're red next year. We'd be wearing the red uniforms next year in the bowl.
That's to be determined. What I understand is because if you look at the Eagles Super Bowl, the Chiefs wore red in that Super Bowl too, right? So what I understand is it's the winning team gets to pick their uniform. They get to pick if they want to be home or not. That's what I understand. It's supposed to be back and
alternated.
It's supposed to alternate, but it just seems really weird that the Chiefs keep being the home team.
Really? I remember that. Huh. That's odd.
Because I heard it both ways, like what you're saying, and then somebody said, no, if the team wins, they get to decide if they're the home team the next year. I'm like, well, I guess if you're a repeating champion, you should get to be the home team. That makes kind of sense to me.
Right.
But regardless, folks, just don't count us out. When you count us out, you're gonna miss out.
Nope. The Chiefs wore white.
No, did they wear white against the Eagles? Okay.
Yep, they did. But yeah, so next year, we will be the home team. But you know where the Super Bowl is being held in 2026?
New Orleans.
In 2026.
Well, that's 2025.
2026 is in Levi's. Yeah.
So, hopefully we can keep the ball rolling, keep the team together, and make things happen, folks.
Well, let's win the next two.
That's right.
Red and white.
That's right.
Why limit ourselves?
It's possible. It's just they just gotta get it done.
Exactly.
Oh, talking about the colors of the jerseys reminds me. Did you guys notice that the Chiefs O-line all had white gloves on?
Nah, I didn't even look at that.
It was something I noticed right at the beginning of the game.
Oh.
And it was like, and so a few people made a big deal about, you can get away with holding, because the refs can't necessarily see your hands. I'm like, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but either way, the Chiefs were wearing white gloves yesterday. Their O-line was.
But pulling a jersey is pulling a jersey. If you see a jersey stretched out and you're seeing the guy's shoulder pads, it's clear, okay, he's being held, right?
This is true. I honestly think the refs they kind of let us play, and they gave us a call, like, you know, that what was it, holding the first down and 5 when we you know, failed on a third down. I don't know if they gave, you know, I don't know if they gave us that call or just, you know, it's all hard to say, folks.
That was the right call. He did mug him.
It was.
He got in his way.
It was
yeah.
a good call.
Yeah.
But it seems like the refs yesterday weren't calling something unless it was painfully obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, when it comes to Travis Kelce, I kind of know what Bryant's saying. I'm going to rewatch the game, and
yeah, I'm going to do that too,
and
just key on him.
See if they're kind of letting him get away with something. You know, he's been in the league a long time, but still, you got to follow the same rules as everybody else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now we got, you know, NFL free agency. Let the speculation begin.
Yeah. Oh, you know that's going to be all the talk now. Who should we sign? Who should we bring back? Should we trade? It's going to be nuts.
And it's the truth. You know, the speculations, oh, this guy's available. The Niners are interested. Okay, how do you know that? You don't actually have a source saying that. You're just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, what I do when it comes to everything being reported, folks, it ain't news until it actually happens.
Exactly. That's my outlook as well.
Yep. But, you know, and sad thing, we didn't get it done this year. Got to get it done, though.
Exactly.
Got to win a Super Bowl with this team that we have right now. I mean, I'm going to hate to say this, but we're going to end up in like the early 90s Buffalo Bills territory if we end up going back and losing again.
I saw somebody say that in the chat. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
They lost 4 in a row.
And the big thing is they were healthy all those years.
Yes.
Like, everybody remained healthy, right? They just got to the game and couldn't win it. Like, they didn't lose their star linebacker during the game, or their number one weapon didn't go down with a leg injury, stuff like that. We're not there yet. So let's pump the brakes and take it easy on the overreactions.
Well, it is alarming. Yes. It is alarming because we went on to win 5 Super Bowls. And because we won 5 Super Bowls, everybody believes that's all we'll ever do. Well, now we've lost 3 Super Bowls in a row. If we go on to win 4, then yeah, people can start calling us the Bills. If we go on to lose 5, are we now the Cowboys? You know, because the Cowboys seem to have been to a lot of Super Bowls, and they've lost a lot of Super Bowls as well. So it is, at some point, you know, it has to stop. They either have to win it, or we are going to become very humbled. And if we do end up being 5-5 in a Super Bowl, you know, at one point, we should still be proud of the Niners, right? Because we've been there as many times as we've been there, and you know, it takes a lot to get to a Super Bowl. But by all means, I would not be happy. But I'm still a root for the team, and if the Niners are listening right now, you got to win it. You guys got to win it. Hopefully, you can win it before that happens, if it ever happens. Let's get 6 before you lose 5. Losing 4 next time is going to be really bad. But we're not there yet. You know, like Ty said, we don't have the same problems. You know, we've had different problems, different outcomes, and you know, there's an equation to this, and we got really close this time. Just gotta maybe give Patrick Mahomes less time. 2 minutes is maybe too much time.
Yeah, the Cowboys have been to 8, same number as us.
They lost 4, right? They lost 3. 3. Okay.
3. Yeah, we got the same record.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's unfortunate.
The ultimate goal is to bring it home. You know, it's not just to get there; it's to bring it home. That's the standard. That's what this franchise is about. That's what makes us one of the premier organizations in the NFL. Right? We get to it and we bring it home. So, got to do it. Got to get it done. That's it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And on that note, we got to say, if you didn't notice, our good friend Aaron isn't with us right now. Probably won't see him for a while.
Yeah.
But, keep your notifications on for whenever he does come back. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
If you're watching it, we're with you, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
As far as this show, and when Aaron does come back, the show will be here. I will talk afterwards here, and we'll find out if we're going to continue a weekly show or a monthly show, but we will be back. We do plan on continuing to work with each other. And again, if Aaron comes back as well, there's a seat for him. So please keep your notifications on, subscribe to all the channels here, and we'll let you guys know. Also on Twitter and YouTube community, we'll post when we do go live, because we're faithful, guys. And win or lose, we'll still be here. We like talking about the 49ers. That's why we all got together, because we like talking about 49ers.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Corey Davis used to have this saying. It was go Niners and F all 31 other teams.
Hell yeah.